Filming from Gen Con 2017, we're going to learn a little bit about Viral, a game that has not been released yet, but has had a lot of buzz about it. I would say it has already gone viral. I had to. Sorry, I apologize, but I had to do it. Okay.
Okay, so Viral is, at its essence, a territory control game. But we are all viruses invading a human body. So everyone is going to be invading with the intent to control zones, which are groups of organs. So you're trying to get your viruses on groups of organs. But there are a few catches here because the board itself is going to kill you. Because the immune system will be called through crises, and also the doctors outside are researching a cure for it. So
those meddling doctors.
Yeah, so not only are you, as a virus, competing against the other players, but you are also competing against the game itself. So when we look at the game, what you're going to be doing is you are very simply going to be choosing a location card, which has an organ zone, as well as a mutation card. And the mutation card pretty much tells what you are doing. On your player board, you actually have a list of icons that shows you what each of these little icons do. So you can infect, you can cause a crisis, you can attack, you can magnet people to you. You can absorb and collect them all within you. You can shield, and I can go through a couple of those here in a minute. But basically what you do is, on my turn, as green, I would go through my location cards and my locations and my mutations, and I'd go, okay, well, I really want to target the brain because I like that zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my brain card, and I'm going to choose this card that has an attack on it because I don't want that yellow critter to be there. Now, I would put this face down, and this would be the first thing of the game round, which all the steps of a round are right here. The yellow player, though, let's say the yellow player was like, well, I want to reinforce my brain, so I am going to do a double infect into the brain. So let's see how this would play out. So each player would put their cards face down, and then we'd all reveal simultaneously. Now let's say I had the first player marker, so my actions would resolve first this round. So I'd reveal and I'd go, okay, well, I am going to do this. I'm going to infect the brain, and then I am going to use this to move this virus up to the brain so that I have control of the brain. Now, movement is interesting in the game because you must follow the path.
Oh, I love that.
So this
love that.
is actually adjacent to the brain, but it's also adjacent to the kidneys, the liver, down here. But this guy right here is only adjacent to this part.
Oh, yeah.
So you really have to keep track of where people are, where things can go, and the flow of the body itself. So what happens here is basically I'd move there. Now what would happen is the yellow had revealed this. So yellow would put 2 right here in the brain and have dominance, foiling my plans to have control of that zone. However, there's a catch. Depending on the number of players, crises can occur. So because we had 5 viruses here in a full player game, full 5 players, 5 viruses are needed to cause a crisis. So that would immediately put this icon on there. Now what that means is when we get into step 4, the immune system is going to come to this area and wipe all of the viruses in that zone. So let's say as we played along, what happened was that like some different viruses got put out there, and we ended up with something like this. Now what would happen then is we'd go down to the scoring phase, and we'd go, who controls this zone? And it's like yellow does. Okay, yellow gains 1 victory point, and it also, and what we're looking at is this right here. Yellow gains 1 victory point and decreases research by 1. Now, the research track is where the doctors are researching a cure for you. So that actually is beneficial to have a negative there. But they're already at the bottom, so it doesn't make an effect. You'd go here, and who controls the heart? Nobody, because you need to have a virus in both of the organs to control that zone. You'd go to the liver, or the lungs, who has control? Gray does. Gray would get 2 research, 1, 2, and 2 victory points, 1, 2. We'd go on and on, increasing and decreasing, until the board is where it's at. Everybody has a victory. We'd then move to stage 3, and this is an event. It's an event that occurs, and it's also a timer. So the event occurs, and you go, too much sugar. Place the lowest number crisis tile available in the pancreas and stomach. So all of a sudden, this just made pancreas and stomach have crisis, and then it goes on. Now this is also a timer. Once you have no cards here, you know that it's the end of the game. We then move to the next phase, which are resolve crises. So when you resolve a crisis, what you do is you look at that area and you go, okay, who has the most viruses? In this case, it's yellow. Yellow has 3. Now let's say there were only 2 there, just for sake of conversation. Who would have the most viruses? Well, there's a tie, so you consult the tiebreaker chart, and in this case, yellow is higher on the tiebreaker chart than green, so yellow would have the most. So either way, that's what happens. So when you have the most viruses, you gain 2 points, everyone else gains 1 point, and then the immune system destroys all the viruses in that area. If you had a shielded virus, it would just flip it over. So these would be removed, and then we would go to the next stage. We check to see if there's a cure. If a cure has been found, which means like basically, let's say Gray was all the way up on the cure track, then all your viruses in the entire body are removed. Unless they're shielded, and then likewise they flip over. The last thing you do in a round is you go over here and you reorder the tiebreaker chart based on the order of players. So you'd go yellow's in first, so yellow moves to last on the tiebreaker chart, followed by gray, followed by green and purple. This would be the new tiebreaker, and you'd continue the game for 6 total rounds. You actually only have 12 choices in the game as far as the cards go. The only thing I didn't explain is how you mutate in the game. So when you hit certain point values, your virus mutates, and you actually get additional cards to play as mutation cards. But that, in a nutshell, is viral. So
nice. I mean, I like the fact that one of the most successful games the last decade was Pandemic.
Yes.
And finally, we hear the other side of the coin. We don't realize how hard these viruses have to work.
Oh yes, these viruses definitely have to work hard. So yeah, but that's the game. It's $49.99 MSRP. We are having an incredibly good time right now here at the booth. It's quite busy.
Yeah.
And basically we're gearing towards a great con. The official retail release is next week, August 23rd.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marco.